This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express Monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's pod. This is the show for the week of December 9th, 2024. And this week, we are jealous of Disneyland's 70th anniversary, or we're just sick of anniversaries in general. We'll talk about that for just a little bit. We're going to do the 2024 in review show. So we're going to go crack open our predictions that we made last December. I think we've got, I don't have a calendar in front of me, 3 more shows this year if we do one between Christmas and New Year's? Yeah. And then I don't know if we're going to have time talking about this, but there are Disney holiday traditions, and it's basically we just posted a lot of fun pictures of decorations that we use, so not any real stories that we can talk about.
It's not great for an audio format.
No, it's not. But if you want to see the pictures, hop on Discord, go to the DBC channel, and see all the cool pictures. Everybody's got a lot of cool toys and ornaments and set pieces and stuff like that. It's really fun. But before we start, a reminder of obviously our Discord channel and of course all of our social media sites that we're on at the DBC Pod almost everywhere. So we appreciate you hopping in the conversation. All right, Phil, I was away for work for a lot of last week and today, but on my phone, I kept getting spam for notifications for Disneyland's 70th. Scott Gustin's going crazy with all the details. How much do you want to talk about this in Disneyland?
I was just thinking about listing it through and sort of seeing if anything or everything together is kind of getting you impressed with it. There are a few people in our Discord that were like, this is making me want to do a Disneyland trip. I mean, maybe it's just because there's not as much for Walt Disney World, and then there's kind of a lot of exciting things sounding. Nothing huge, not like they're opening major attractions and stuff like that. But it's a lot of new stuff and new entertainment put together that makes it seem like it's going to be something fun versus, I guess, the disappointment we had for the 50th at Walt Disney World. But
I'm tired of Disney anniversary celebrations. When we had the 50th, then we had Epcot, then we had Animal Kingdom, and it's just like
we had the company's 100th and stuff.
I'm just like, I don't care anymore, especially since the 50th was such a letdown. Granted, it happened during COVID.
I know
so
some of it was
a little bit
Disney's fault, but.
And maybe they cut a lot of use COVID as an excuse to cut a lot of the celebrations. In any case, I'm just I'll wait. Hopefully, I'm here in another 50 years and see what happens at that point. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's going to be 16 months long, starting May 16th. Kind of one of the big things is they announced that Walt Disney A Magical Life animatronic show is going to debut on that same day. So this is the Walt Disney animatronic that's going to be doing a show in the same theater on Main Street in Disneyland that has great moments with Mr. Lincoln. I guess they built a turntable, so it's going to alternate which show plays, whether you get to see Abe or you see Walt. There had been some controversy before. I guess some of Walt's relatives had come out and his grandchildren or whatever, and were kind of not in favor of there being an animatronic of their grandfather, but since then, I guess a number of them have also gone to see it, and people from the Walt Disney World Family Museum went, and they were very impressed with it. And they think, so there's obviously no right answer. I mean, I'm always reminded, even the people that worked closest with Walt had no idea what he would think about things, and it could change day after day. So anybody who says Walt would hate this, nobody has any idea what Walt would think about this. So
I'm most excited about this because this really intrigues me. Not that I'm anyone in special in particular, but I get the impression that Walt would probably like this. I mean, to me, he's a guy that always celebrated new technologies and new ways of storytelling. And I don't know, I think he probably would think it's cool. And I understand why the family would think maybe it's creepy or off-putting or in bad taste, but I don't know. Didn't we talk about how much time has to pass by before you get made into an animatronic and it's tasteful? Lincoln, you wouldn't want to make it maybe after he got assassinated.
That was one thing I was thinking, because one of the comments from one of the grandchildren was it's from Joanna Miller, his granddaughter, said the idea of robotic grandpa to give the public a feeling of who the living man was just makes no sense. it would be an imposter. They're dehumanizing him. People are not replaceable, which I get, but I don't think anybody's thinking like going into the show. It's like, that is Walt. They know it's an animatronic. I mean, should they not have done the Abraham Lincoln one? Because that's trying to replace him, right? Like,
but then for the modern audience, right? Like millennials are becoming a larger and larger portion. Walt Disney World's guests are getting to the age, and now they're in the early to mid 40s. They're paying for these vacations for their family now. No one that's a millennium ever saw Walt Disney live on television.
Exactly. Yeah. So
alive,
it's almost
right?
That's what I'm saying. It's almost the same thing as an Abraham Lincoln or something like that.
Sure.
Or somebody, a historic figure. So obviously, if you were a grandchild and remember him as grandpa, it's a little bit different. I'm certainly not saying her feelings are invalid or anything, but it's just, I don't know. It seems like now that they've actually seen it in working, that the feelings are a little bit more positive, but we'll see how it is.
We'll see.
Some other new and returning entertainment. Paint the Nighttime Parade is going to be returning, as is Wondrous Journey Fireworks Show. There's a new cavalcade, a new version of World of Color, and a new parade at Disney's California Adventure. One thing that did release is there's not going to be a regular daytime parade at all at Disneyland Park. So I don't know. There's a lot of entertainment. I love Paint the Night, so that's kind of a draw in itself for me. I see a new World of Color. It's hosted by Joy, so I guess that's one way they're getting the Inside Out 2 characters in there. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like I said, it definitely spammed our news feed because everything was like a separate news story versus just one or whatever, and like obviously every outlet had it, so it seemed like a lot of news. I know Matt was talking about like, oh, it's making him want to plan a trip and stuff. So I don't know.
I mean, granted, nothing's been in the news for like the last 2 weeks or so, which is why we're talking about it. So I guess they're trying to get their money's worth out of this. It's funny for work. I was this close to having a meeting planned out in Anaheim at some point in the next 2 months, but we're all meeting together in Chicago in March. So everybody's like, let's do it in Chicago. I'm like, could have gotten a work trip paid for, or at least the flights out there. And I could have stayed there for a weekend or something and headed up to Disneyland and checked it out. Oh, not this, but Disneyland itself. But no, I mean, like, again, nothing's making me want to go out there. It's too expensive. That's the whole, I can't pay for flights for my family to go out there and plan a trip unless it's like a solo trip. And then it's like my family would hate me for going to Disneyland by myself when they've never been. So, what are you going to do?
The next news item I had was that they've started to test out AI using AI cash registers, I guess, starting with the All-Star Sports Food Court. You basically put your tray and the camera looks at it. I guess it's Project Cyclops, and it looks at it and can kind of tell what's on your tray and say, okay, the food on your tray costs X, and they don't need any cashiers or anything like that, which is prompting the cast member union to speak out against it because it's taken away jobs.
Oh, of course.
But I don't know. I don't think this is going to work. I mean, it's only like the first couple of days, but everybody who's tried it is like, it missed this. It said this was the wrong thing. It had this, and then you got to have a cast member come out and correct everything. And I don't know. I think these things work if it's like a grab and go and you're just scanning barcodes or something. But I don't know. There's just so much variance. Like, what if I get this added to it or this taken away? Like, how's it supposed to know all that stuff? I don't know.
First of all, I hate how everybody just sticks AI into everything.
Oh, I'm so tired of AI.
I'm in robotics, right? My real job. I'm in robotics. I understand what is and what isn't. This is basically a camera that's learned pattern recognition and stuff like that to read a package, see what it is, and identify it. I guess not perfectly from an array of pictures. Like this is this, and they identify it, and you train the camera on it. But it's not AI. Right? It's not thinking. It's not producing anything. It's just visual recognition. So I get a little frustrated with that. However, I don't mind this if it works. It's great. Helps me get out of line faster, which is always nice. Most of the food courts do a pretty good job. I've never really been backed up at a food court before at a resort, so I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's just one of those things we're trying to out here because we have broader applications in the future or something, and some of the other stuff like the mobile checkout in the gift merch stores, like I think works pretty well. But again, that's scanning a barcode and stuff like that. It just doesn't seem like the upside is worth the hassle it's going to create.
It's slow news week.
Yeah, it's slow. I think that was the comment everywhere. I saw it posted on like Facebook or Twitter. Their comments were like slow news week. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Speaking of slow news weeks, but because this is a small update, but Disney has already added something to Tiana's Bayou Adventure where they put in some, I guess, additional stars that light up during the closing scene of Rey and Evangeline. It's not a big thing, but I think it's cool that like the ride's not brand new and they're already starting to think of ways to plus it, because that was one of my thoughts riding the ride. I really enjoyed it, but there were definitely some areas where I was like, they added a couple more characters here, something else to look at that would be good.
Sure.
So it gives me hope that, in the future, maybe they can add things. Speaking of Walt, that was something he always liked to do to the attractions. That every so often was plussing them. So it's nice to see that they're already doing that for Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Always nice when they don't just build it, forget about it, and except for maintenance. So I like it too.
So that is the end of my slow news week news. So
yeah, so a good solid 10 minutes on it. All right, so I want this. I always love this time of year. Everybody loves this time of year. It's not only the holidays. It's you get to a year in retrospect and predictions for next year. I think we'll do predictions next week, or the week after, depending on timing. But because it's slow news week, I figured we'd pull up our 2024 year in review, and we've got documents for every single year where we made predictions for the following year. And it's always kind of fun because I totally forget what we wrote in this. So I've got it up. I'm going to read it to you. But you want to do the document first? You have some other different things that you want to talk about, Phil, about just
So first of all, I thought it was like what jumped out to me when I was thinking about the 2024. First, I thought, what were some of our personal Disney like highlights for the year? Obviously, I've had several trips. I did the down and back with my son, which was a lot of fun, and my wife and daughter had their own trip, and then I took the other two down. One that jumped out at me is I had that bonus trip where I had a work meeting down in Florida, and I went up there, and Zach got me into Epcot, and that was kind of the trip where I was like, I'm just enjoying being on property, and it kind of changed maybe the straw that broke the camel's back, or the tipping point for changing my view of like how to tour Disney and kind of amplify that vacation within the vacation. And then getting to go to the D23 event, and we saw that early screening of Not Just a Goof was pretty cool. So those are some of the Disney highlights for me personally that stood out for the year. Jason, I don't know about yours.
Well, I mean, I don't really have any. I mean, I just got back a month ago, so I mean, like we don't need to review that again.
See 2 episodes ago for his part.
But like just in general, we had probably our least favorite trip a year ago. I think we were in Disney a week from today ish. So basically we got back 4 days before Christmas last year, and it was cold, and it was kind of different than we expected temperature wise. So that definitely put like a damper on things, different, like just more uncomfortable. I guess I prefer to be hot and sweaty and humid than freezing cold. I guess I learned that lesson. So coming into this year, we knew that we wanted to reset the time of year that we go to Disney. And if you probably remember me talking about this quite a bit, my wife's like, I don't want to go in the cold anymore. Let's go in the spring. So obviously we weren't going to go back for a big family vacation 4 months later or 3 months later. So we were going to go back in February originally, 2 months from now. And that got pushed back. My wife got continued her job, and it was really tough. Then we pushed it to the summer. So we're going in July. And I didn't think I was going to be a year away, or a year and a half between vacations. I was okay with that. And then somewhere my wife's like, let's do an adult only trip during my birthday. And I'm like, this is great. So we did that. So that's kind of my Disney headspace. And being on this podcast, and kind of just you and I just kind of talking about the evolution of how we view going to the parks. Because if you remember, we started off this podcast 4 years ago. Like, we've got spreadsheets, we've got strategies, we're going to hit the parks, we're going to go hard, and God forbid we wake up 5 minutes late and do all this other type of stuff, right? But finding the vacation of vacation, you took it to heart and changed the way you did, like you just mentioned. I did the same thing with the wife a month ago, and it's really going to shade how we do the trip next year. I'm really looking forward to how the kids kind of adapt to the laissez-faire kind of go lucky type of approach. So we'll see. But that's kind of where I'm at with Disney right now. I'm kind of turning the leaf, going from turbo mode to like, I'm now just a seasoned veteran. Yeah, I come here often, so I don't need that type of thing. So that's kind of my stories for the year. I don't think anything else really. So you have more interesting things, more varied
so
things.
Then I thought about like where we're, you kind of mentioned about the podcast and how that's evolved. Some of our highlights, we did celebrate our 200th episode. I think the average podcast makes 3 episodes, so we're doing pretty good.
Hey,
I guess.
we got above the average. All right.
Some of the guests that we've had, we've had Scott Gustin on a few times, but this year we also added having Drew the Disney dude on a few times. It was good to
Both
get to
awesome.
know him.
Both guys. Yep.
And the other thing that jumped out to me was we did a number for a while. We were doing a bunch of them in a row, but we're doing what I was calling the rankums, where we went through is like, let's rank all the hotels, let's rank all the like quick service resorts, like all the and I thought those were a lot of fun and just something different, and kind of jumped out to me as like that's something we took on this year to try to get through a number of those.
I think we should definitely plan to do a lot more of them starting in the new year. Like we need to have a giant list. So if anybody out have ideas of what rankums that we should do, maybe that'll be our TVC engagement, right? We'll take a list. We need to mine content from our listeners on Discord. But yeah, I really like the rankum stuff.
And then just for the Disney company and Walt Disney World in general, I thought about like obviously the opening of Tiana's Bayou Adventure was a big thing, and then my wife and daughter being there for opening day kind of added to it, at least for us personally and for the show. The launch of Lightning Lane Multipass and Single Pass and Premier Pass. They've had a successful return to the box office. Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Moana 2. I think the D23 fan event had a lot of really positive reaction, and
that was the huge thing, to be honest with you.
And like kind of everything coming out of that, maybe some negative reactions after they realized what was going to go away. But I think that was a big thing of kind of their reinvesting in the park, and we know they're going to have at least 3 of the parks under major construction at one time, which is exciting. And then the one park they're not is because it's quote unquote done, the update to Epcot.
Oh yes, the infamous finish of Communicore. So we're going to actually talk about these Disney World in general type stuff in our predictions. So I have this tab open. These are our predictions from last year. So if you want to go find our episode exactly 50 something episodes ago, you can find it. So I'm going to open it up here. I've now reading the first one. So Phil, I'm going to read the preface. You don't have this open, correct?
No, I do not.
I'm going to go through this. I'm going to read a list of the things that we're going to have, and then the questions. I want to see if you can remember. You want to do if we can remember what you answered, or whether just say what we did and discuss whether that was a good guess or not. Want to play a little bit of game or just discussion? How are you feeling?
Well, we could start with the guessing and see how that goes, and then if it crashes and burns, we could stop.
Okay, fine, fair. So we listed what movies were coming out in 2024. We listed Deadpool 3, Planet of the Apes, Inside Out 2, Mufasa, Captain America, which got pushed, the new Alien movie, Thunderbolts, which got pushed, The Marvels, and Wish on Disney+. And the first question was, will the MCU recover? Because we talked about a lot of the flops that were coming out. I think December last year was The Marvels, right? Was just in December, if I remember correctly, or at least it was the end of the year, I think.
Yeah.
What did you remember? Do you remember what you answered? Will the MCU recover?
I think we answered that Deadpool 3 was going to be big, but not. It'd be better, but not a full return.
Yeah. So we both answered yes, it would recover. And I think it did recover with Deadpool 3. I mean, we'll see how they follow up with Captain America next year, because that's 50-50 whether that's going to sink it again.
It seems like after Deadpool 3, people are at least wanting that, and that it seems like a little more grounded. I don't know. I'm seeing a little bit more positive reaction to that, but we'll see.
There's more vibes. And we both answered yes on that one.
Okay.
And then we asked, will Disney movies have a bigger year? Any $1 billion movies? And Phil, do you remember? Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to ask you to guess. I'm just going to say,
let's just go through
Phil, you say no.
Ooh.
No $1 billion, but they're all going to do better. Obviously, you were wrong. I agreed with you. So
you were wrong too.
We were both terrible at this, because Disney has 2 $1 billion movies, and Moana. I don't know if Moana is going to hit $1 billion.
It just hit 600 million globally, so it's got a shot.
So it could. It could. It's only been open for 2 weeks now.
2 weeks,
2 weekends. So we'll see. The next question was, will Wish and the Marvels hit it big on streaming? We both said that we didn't think Marvels will, but we both said Wish would, and I don't think we've seen any hint of Wish come out of anything. So we were both definitely wrong with that one.
See, merch discounted for it, but that's
I think my kids watched it one more time after we streamed it, and
I think we may have as well. Yeah.
And I don't think they watched it fully. I think they were just kind of skipping around and listening to some of the music, but that was gone literally 2 weeks after we kind of watched it for the first time. All right. So then the next segment was TV stuff, and we listed Echo, Agatha, X-Men 97, The Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew. I've only watched the first episode of Skeleton Crew because I'm trying to watch it with my kids, and we just haven't had time to watch it at night. The next question was, will Disney Plus be profitable? And we split on this.
Okay.
I said yes, and you said still in the red. So
Okay.
my guess was correct. They were actually in the black, I think, last quarter.
Yeah, a quarter earlier than they predicted, even, I think.
So that was a big talking point, as you know, Iger was trying to quote unquote right the ship from Chapek because Iger's been on the job for 2 years now. And then we have, will Disney Plus gain more than average subscribers? We both said yes, and I believe that they've been the subscriber base has been going up on that, so they've been positive. The next one says, will we see Hulu and Disney Plus see full integration? We both said yes. The answer is no to that one. So it's still separate apps, though there is some content sharing, but it's not all one unified platform, which I think we were talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if we knew what we meant, but they're doing that, I guess, now for ESPN Plus too, now that there's like, I guess, a tile or whatever. So when you log into Disney Plus, if you have the other two, you see them as well, but it's not like there's
one mega platform.
It's not one mega thing. Yeah. They're not like merged. It's just like you can access them together.
Yep. So I don't know if we knew what we were thinking about that, but we both said yes. Because I think when we were making this, they were talking about having that done.
Yeah.
Will Star Wars Disney Plus seem positive after a mixed 2023? We both said no. We were both definitely correct on that. Yeah. Though Skeleton Crew is getting very positive vibes on the internet. But Acolyte had got so many bad takes that I think outweighs the general positivity of Skeleton Crew. Because Skeleton Crew, from what I've seen, is pretty harmless fun. Like, it's not trying to be more than what it is. Yeah. So it's not like an impactful Star Wars show where, like, oh my gosh, where are we going to see Luke? We're going to know. It's an adventure story, right? Yeah. Which I think is great for Disney Plus. I think that's where Star Wars needs to be.
I think it's perfect time of the year. And like you said, with you watching your family, we did the same thing last year. We watched the 2 episodes. It's one of the first things in a while I can recall all 5 of us like sat down to watch together, and everyone enjoyed it. And multiple kids today mentioned, like, guess what's tomorrow? It's like the next episode of Skeleton Crew. So at least for the audience that it has, it seems to be pretty doing
It's funny, like my kids don't really care about Star Wars, and I'm a big Star Wars nerd, but with the deterioration of everything that's what Star Wars, my kids aren't really into it, and that's fine. But I forced everybody to sit down and watch it. Everybody enjoyed it, and even my youngest daughter, my 6-year-old, was like, "Can we watch the new Star Wars show tonight? We didn't finish it. Can we watch the next episode?" So she was super pumped for it. So I guess it kind of landed with that.
Yep.
Will the MCU Disney Plus seem positive after a flat 2023? We both said no to this one, but I think with X-Men 97, which was a massive hit, and Agatha was pretty well received. I think it kind of, after the stink of like Secret Invasion and all this other stuff, like, it left a pretty good taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yeah, it's at least mixed, and like you said, I think Agatha overperformed. X-Men 97 overperformed,
massively overperformed.
Yeah, so I would call it at least mixed, but because like the other one, the negatives are really bad though. So they're kind of dragging things down.
So the bar was very low to clear to get to like a positive level. So we were both wrong on that one. But I think maybe not too wrong. So okay, in the parks segment, how much was 2020? We were trying to figure out attendance records. So how much was 2023 down versus 2022? And we thought the attendance would go down, but I'm trying to think what we meant by that. How much was 2023 down versus 2022? You said 4% and I said 6%, but that doesn't make any sense to me because everything was up. So I don't know what we were talking about there. But the next question is, will 2024 see increase in attendance? You said 1%. I said it would be flat with 2022 numbers. It actually increased by 3% or so, I believe. Were the numbers?
Yeah, it was up a little.
From the TIA report,
it was up a little bit domestically. I think it was down international, but at least domestically.
Yeah. And that's generally outside of TIA. Will we see any general additions? You said yes, like the Country Bear stuff like that. I forgot about that. I said really nothing, and that's generally been the case, I guess. I'm trying to think of any additions other than the Communicore stuff and saying goodbye to a lot of things. I guess Tiana's
Yeah.
was really the only new thing. Any changes to the unused spaces, Mermaid and Hollywood Studios, Stitch and Magic Kingdom, etc. We both said no to that, so we were right on the money.
Yeah, I guess the new they're bringing Mermaid back to replace Mermaid, but it hasn't opened yet. So
Yeah, exactly. Transportation additions or subtractions, we both said no. Like there was just no changes to either one of those things. I think we were correct on that.
Yep.
On that front, unless you want to count the brand new buses, which we're not going to
No.
count those. Will there be a more positive feeling around guests and for the company, or similar to now? We both said yes, that we'd both be more positive feelings. I think after D23, because I think we were still teetering on negative with Tiana's, at least in the Disney community, because everybody's but it opened. Most people were generally happy with it, other than some of the diehard fans of Splash. And then with D23, with all the new additions and everything that's coming, everybody's pretty excited about the additions, I think.
I would say though it balanced out with some negative reaction to the DAS changes.
True.
For the
I
people that were impacted by that. So I'd say probably mixed. So some positive, but some negative as well.
So the bonus question was nickel and diming still be complained about? You said yes, but less, and I said no, and I was definitely wrong.
I think if anything, it's more.
It's more. So you were half wrong. I was totally wrong on that. You were wrong on the magnitude of complaining. Genie Plus changes. Will we see any changes announced for Genie Plus? I'm trying to remember what the announcements were. So back earlier, if you recall, back in January, reservations went away. So we've been reservation lists for a year now, basically, or almost a year. There were changes to Genie Plus. What were the ones that are being announced? Help me out here, Phil. Was it
for Genie Plus, not for switching to Lightning Lane?
Yeah. So I guess they were announcing being able to do it ahead of time. And because there was a Parks blog article about Disney Plus,
that it was going to be changing. Yeah, that they said there would be the pre-planning and stuff like that. So obviously it did happen. It was just more of an overhaul and going back to what FastPass was.
Yeah. So will we see changes, and when will they have been announced? I guess you put in announced in January, and then we have the letter E in March. You put in. I don't know what that means, but we both said we see changes early in the year. We definitely didn't. We talked about how many tiers per park. We both said 2 tiers for changes to Genie Plus. Will tiers affect individual Lightning Lane selections? We both said no, both right on that. Will Genie Plus be cheaper or more expensive in 2024? You said the same. I said cheaper. We were both wrong on that.
Oh, yeah.
I was definitely way wronger than you on that one. When will pre-selection be? 60 days, 1 week. You said 7. I said 2 weeks. You were right there, dead on the money there. How many selections can you pre-book? I said 1. You guessed 3. Also correct. So you're betting pretty good here, Phil. Can you pre-purchase Genie Plus with packages like before? We both said yes. We were both wrong. Though I wouldn't be surprised if you see that coming at some point if reservations get pretty bad next year.
Yeah, it's like a promotion.
Yep. Okay, Tiana's. When will Tiana open? Remember, we didn't have a guess, and we were talking about this quite a bit all earlier this year. You guessed July. I guessed Memorial Day. You were right there. Closer than it was late June, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up right now.
I guess by Price is Right rules, I was correct.
That's
but
true.
I think you're probably closer than me on that one. But we were both basically, we thought it would be open later in the year. We both kind of, I was always adamant that it'd be open for the summer.
I looked up, it was June 28th. So yeah, practically July.
So I'll give you the W on that one. What will be the initial reaction? We had numbers here, a 4 and a 5. I don't know what we meant by that.
Probably out of 10 being super positive, what we thought it would be or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think we our predictions for upcoming is that we need to be better about wording our predictions.
Hey,
so that
I
we'll
think you
understand
wrote
them.
these notes last year. I don't know. How many animatronics? Somewhat fewer, but better ones. And I wrote the same. It's definitely not the same. It depends on how you count
Yeah,
animatronics.
there's definitely fewer, but
there's
there's definitely more that are much more impressive. So
you get the W on that one for sure. I mean, I don't really count like something that just goes like up and down or like
there are some
turns as
simple ones
animatronic.
in Tiana's though too. So
That's true.
it's
That's
just-
true.
Yeah, they work better.
That's true. Oh, actually, when I said the same, I mean the same as you, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're both right.
We're both right. I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit there. Good. How many screens are going to be in the ride? You said it was screen light, meaning not many. I agreed with you. I think we're fairly good on that. Even if it's screen light, it's not that many screens that are in there. There's like 2 big ones, right? When you're when you're shrunken down, and then when you go up the lift, there's another one, I think.
Yeah, there's the 2 of Madame Odie, and then there's
so there's 3.
And then there's the one in there, and then in the final scene, they use screens in the back of like
yeah, right. Yes.
So some of the characters to give some depths and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like screen heavy.
No, not at all. It's not even really any. Yeah, you know what? We'll give ourselves a W. I think I'm trying to differentiate between light and really light, and we don't need that type of nuance with this type of question at all. When will the walls come down in Epcot? You said March. I said April, and I think it was right around that time, right? When did the Epcot walls come down? Somebody Google that. Somebody, can you Google that, please? We don't have a producer or anything that can do that for us. When did the walls come down in Epcot? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Well, it says after years of Epcot, the last of the construction walls was June 10th.
Okay, so we were way early on that. We were definitely both wrong. We were optimistic on that one. All right, so we have some park specific ones. For the Magic Kingdom, will Tron go standby? We both said no. We were both incorrect on that one. It is now standby. Will we see medium to major construction in Magic Kingdom outside Tiana's? We both said no. But at that time, we really didn't know anything was going into Magic Kingdom. So I don't know if we were just like, definitely nothing's going to happen. And then we were like shocked when D23 happened, I guess.
I think we thought there were always the rumors about Beyond Big Thunder and stuff like that.
True.
So I think we thought like, would something happen? Like, would construction start with that? And it
well,
hasn't.
technically, there's a crane at Big Thunder Mountain that's getting prepped.
Well, and I just saw a post. They are doing some land clearing, I guess, outside for those drainage fields and stuff like that. So some construction has started. I wouldn't call it. We use the word major. This is not major though.
And inside Magic Kingdom as well. These are
it's
just
not
outside,
yeah.
So it's close, but not imminent. Will we see new parties or ticket events outside of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party? And we both said yes. And there's really no new ticket things versus last year, so we were both wrong on that one. Anything in Epcot in 2024? We both said no. We were right. Will Guardians go standby? We both said yes, and we both said Memorial. You said Memorial Day. I said July. We were both definitely wrong.
Yep.
On that one, unfortunately.
By the way, did you see Tiana's at Disneyland?
Disneyland,
It
yes.
already dropped there. So I'm like, we still have Tron we still have Guardians and stuff.
So yeah. How will Epcot use the new community core area? And I said mostly festival fun. You said mostly festival as well. It hasn't really used that space much for festivals at all. There's been some entertainment kind of stuff in that area, but no food booths or anything else festival-wise.
Just a little bit. I mean, they have the festival.
Or the topiary stuff.
Yeah, and they have the Epcot, the gingerbread spaceship Earth and stuff like that. So
that's true.
They're starting to add a little bit, but it's like, it's not enough.
At least they fixed the lights temporarily, at least anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see how long it lasts. Will World Celebration, once completed, see a major shift in crowds through the year? I said yes. You said no. And it's definitely like people don't hang out there. There's not major crowds unless you want to count the Encanto show.
Yeah, it's not major crowd. I mean, I think people that, especially like regulars, enjoy kind of quiet moments there at grabbing a bite to eat and sitting, but it's not like the masses are spending tons of time there. So no.
Yeah, I agree. You were definitely right on that one. I was wrong. Animal Kingdom. Will we see construction in 2024? It depends what we call construction, because there's trailers up ready.
Yeah,
ready
there's
to
just
go.
construction prep, and that is within the boundaries of the park. So
we both said yes on that one. So we're hanging on by our finger yes with that answer. Any new nighttime shows events in 2024? You said yes, and I said no, but I predicted in 2025 we would see some nighttime shows. I doubt that though at this point.
Unless we count the drone show at Disney Springs.
Oh, this is just specifically in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, Animal Kingdom. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hollywood Studios, will Jollywood return? You said no, I said yes. So I'll take the W on that one.
There you go.
Will we see any major changes to this park in 2024? We both said no, which is correct. Unless you want to count closing down Racing Academy, but I don't think that counts. Will there be a Halloween party in 2024 in Hollywood Studios? We both said no. Will Rise become more reliable? We both said the same. Though I haven't really heard about major downtime there, but I haven't been looking for it either. So
I think it's actually been a little bit better. They still haven't obviously fixed the cannons and things like that, but I think it's been. Got to ask Glenn Testa or something like that. But like you said, I haven't heard a lot of oh my God, it's down for hours and hours and hours. I mean, it's got some downtime, but I think it's a lot better than it used to be.
I haven't heard major complaints.
There were a while where it was it's not open when the park's open and blah, blah, blah. I haven't heard any of that.
So we have now D23 predictions. So this should be interesting. Will it be more blue sky or will we get definitive announcements? I answered yes, that we'll get definitive announcements. You said both. So we both were definitely right. I don't know if you want to count Villains as blue sky.
I mean, they committed to it, and they said it was going to be done by within 5 years and stuff like that. So I think that's more definitive than the blue sky we got the previous year.
I definitely don't think we were expecting what we
We definitely got more concrete than I thought we would. So I'll take.
Will we get some park announcements prior to D23? We both said yes. I guess the only thing I can think of was Test Track, right? Was that prior to D23?
I don't even remember. I think some stuff came out, but did Country Bears come out earlier?
I don't remember. Definitely don't remember on that one. I want to say yes. We were kind of right, maybe.
I think some small things, but nothing major.
Yeah, I think we were trying to we're getting big changes, but everything was safe for D23 basically. Will we get a new Animal Kingdom Vision, or will be Encanto plus Indy? You said Encanto yes, Indy maybe. I said Encanto, Indy no. I was definitely wrong on this one. Wow. I mean, I was totally wrong. Good for me. Beyond Big Thunder Mountain get announced along with the new Animal Kingdom. You said Blue Sky. With the Beyond stuff, I said we get some details. You were more wrong than me, but we were both kind of right. You were 20% right. I was maybe 40% right. Because you said it was definitely definitive of what we're going to get with Beyond Big Thunder Mountain, because we got the details of the whole Cars Lane type of thing. So I think that's more than some details.
Oh, yeah,
definitely more than Blue Sky. Will Animal Kingdom be just Dino Land, or should we expect more capacity announcements? You said yes, and just Blue Sky stuff. I said the same. We were definitely wrong on that one because we got some really big capacity announcements and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
Not really. I mean, beyond Dino Land, we didn't get anything.
We got Cars, which is higher capacity.
Oh, I thought you were still in Animal Kingdom.
No. Basically, in the context of D23, it's just Animal Kingdom the only big capacity change.
Okay.
Or we get more stuff. And we definitely got more stuff.
Yeah.
So we both undervaluing D23 this year. Any new nighttime or parade additions? You said yes. Festival of Fantasy replacement. I just said yes. We got a new nighttime parade, but Festival of Fantasy, as far as I know, is still going to be there.
That's still staying. Yep.
Will you have any new hotel announcements? I said no, and you said yes. Reflections. So you hit that one right in the head. And you got that in. Just actually, technically, they have announced Reflections, right? The Lakeside Lounge. We talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't said if it's the exact same thing, and they haven't really given concept art and stuff, but it's basically Reflections.
Yeah, you get the W on that one for sure. Surprise announcement predictions. You said Skyliner. I said MDE. I don't know what I meant by that, but maybe it was Magical Express I was thinking about at that point.
Probably.
But we got nothing. We didn't have any surprise predictions anyway, so whatever. Okay, on to discounts. This is getting long.
Well, unless we count the I think it was a surprise that they're going to pave over the rivers of America.
That is true, but we definitely did not guess that.
No.
But though we did talk about it in a podcast 3 years ago with Len Testa on our show. That was really funny. Okay, so we're just talking about definitely some discounts. I'm going to go through these really, really quick. We're going to get free dining. We both said yes. Free Genie Plus. You said no. I said yes. So you were winning on that one. Continued up to 30% off. We both said yes. Any new ticket deals? We both said yes, and it was basically the ticket deal that you had over the summer, where you get like the 4 cheap tickets.
Yeah.
You get 1 for each ticket. Continue large discount inventory. Yeah, generally, yeah. I mean, some of the discounts that are announced, you're definitely can find it. I mean, with the exception of maybe some weekends where there's like a race going on, stuff like that.
Right,
Generally,
right.
you could still. It's not hard to get a discounted room for what you're looking for.
Yep.
An MDE like service. We both said yes, but there hasn't been anything from the airport at all. That's I don't know why I often get my Disney Experience and Magical Express mixed up because it both has an M and an E in it. So maybe that's what I did on this one. I think I definitely wrote this. It's totally not your fault. Totally my fault. The hotels, will the new Poly Tower be open? We both said yes. And technically, we might be correct on that one because it's technically not open, but soon to be.
Yeah, it's open. It's opening December 17th, I think.
It's getting close.
Yeah.
There's people eating in there, so I'm going to count as that as a yes, right? Will it be well received once completed? I said yes, and you said yes, but grudgingly. And the only way I could say that you are more correct than I will with that vibe check on there is because if you read the WDW Magic forums where basically everybody just craps over the whole hotel and everything, there's people like, oh, the food looks really good. The inside is gorgeous. Oh, the outside, but mostly the tune has been changed quite a bit with a lot of people on that one. So I'll definitely give you the W on that one. Some corporate level stuff. Will a new CEO be announced or new CEO candidate be hired? Executives will come in for speculation, and I said speculation for sure, but nothing official. So basically the same thing. We were right on that. The announcement's probably going to be coming in a year, I guess, for like, what did they say? Like 2026, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any major shakeups in the Disney World, the Walt Disney Company assets, like selling some? Because remember a year ago, they were talking about selling off ESPN or ABC, and we both said no big changes. Any major shakeups at Lucasfilm, Pixar, Disney Animation, the MCU? You mentioned maybe Kennedy might be gone, and I kind of agreed with that, but nothing has really happened whatsoever. And I don't expect any changes for the next year either until a new CEO. I think Iger's just going to we're just keeping everybody in. When the new CEO comes in, he can do whatever he or she may want.
Yep.
Will the Diz stock be up? And I don't know. I haven't checked in like a week, but it hit over like 110.
Oh, it's definitely up from when we did these.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You predicted 100-ish. I don't know. What is it right now? I'm gonna look it up real quick. Diz stock 114. So we both hit on that one. And then we have DVC engagement predictions that we posted here, but I'm not going to read through them. So that we generally kind of got the vibe for 2024. It seems. I'm really curious to see what we're going to write up for 2025, those predictions, because 2025 is going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of entertainment stuff. I think we're going to have predictions of what kind of entertainment's coming back that we're not expecting, how good or bad the parade is going to be.
Yeah.
A lot of details on construction and stuff like that.
Yeah, like when does this start? When does that start? Do we get more on that? Yeah,
like what is Rivers of America going to look like? I mean, I know everybody's going back and forth about like permits being denied and extensions being offered, and everybody's kind of, going nuts about all these little tiny updates. And I'm like, this is how permitting works. Like, there's like,
especially with a project of this scale,
I do permitted work. I don't do the permits, but I do work that has permits done for it. And then there's back and forths for like months on this stuff. And that's for like simplest changes, let alone changing a river, right, and putting that water somewhere. So it's going to be fun predicting 2025. I'm looking forward to it. We got to account for Destination D23, what's going to be announced on that too next year. So that's going to be fun. Okay, so what was I guess let me ask you this, Phil. Going over all what our mind space was about a year ago, do you think we had an accurate guess of what 2024 would look like a year ago?
I would say overall, yes. Like if if it's kind of one of those like Rotten Tomatoes, is it rotten or fresh? I would say fresh. Like you have to pick one or the other.
Fair.
I think if anything, maybe things are a little more positive than we thought they would be.
Yeah, I think we totally underestimated what was coming at D23. I mean, we were
and,
coming
and
off
the impact that was going to have. Yeah.
I mean, we were all totally cynical about like
Yeah.
the MCU was down in the dumps. We weren't really excited about the Star Wars stuff whatsoever, and that totally disappointed a lot of people. We were still hurting from Chapek and no projects coming up, and Epic Universe coming, and all this other stuff. And I think that really turned the tide back in August with Tiana opening up quickly and on time. Though I definitely don't want to live through another like, oh, it's down again today. Oh, it's up again today. Oh, it's no good. Oh, Disney has no idea what they're doing. Oh, it's working really well. Oh, imagine that after some practice. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to what we're guessing and see what the vibe is a year from now when we're opening up our 2025 predictions document and going from there. Again, I think I mentioned at the top of the show, we're not going to go through the DVC engagement because that's what we typically go through now. We're at like 45 minutes into the show, and I think this is a good place to end on a prediction show. Phil, is there anything I missed that you might want to talk about?
No, just like I'll just remind people of going to the Discord and looking through the thread where people are sharing about the DVC engagement was how do you incorporate Disney into your holiday celebrations, and there were some fun ones. Somebody had like a Disney menorah for their Hanukkah and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cool little displays and stuff, but doesn't necessarily make the best for an audio format.
Oh no.
And I will also say I was trying to think of things, and we have some ornaments from past trips and stuff like that, but we don't do a lot of like, I know some people like are like, oh, every night we watch a different Disney movie, or we have like we make the garland out of old magic bands and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if we don't do that much that's explicitly Disney. I'm sure we'll watch, Mickey's Christmas Carol and stuff like that, but we're not as structured about a lot of our holiday stuff. So
no, we don't do any Disney specific holiday. We splash Disney all over the place, but I mean, our tradition was going to Disney World at Christmas the last 2 years. So that's definitely not happening this year, but yeah, I was looking for like stories, but everybody just started showing their like awesome decorations to become like, look at mine. This, and everybody's like, that's really awesome. I wish I had that type of thing back and forth. So, all right, so let's wrap it up here. Let's give everybody the grace of 14 extra minutes back in your podcasting life. Thank you for watching and listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
take care.